I know that you don't like to talk about your life, but a guy with a freaking machete for an arm just chopped our butts in half. Who are you?
Run it! On September 3rd,
My father trained me to be an assassin, but that's not who I am.
a Marvel legend will rise.
My name is Shang-Chi.
You're such a badass.
Thank you.
Run it!
Hello, everyone. We're from the cast of Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and today we're going to play a game that'll hopefully let you know a little bit more about our characters.
You got this. Don't be nervous.
Thank you.
Who is most likely to get into a fight? Me.
That was fast.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Like your character or you? I just want to make sure that you know, also you.
You're like such a badass. Everything that you do is like so cool.
Who is most likely to joke their way out of a confrontation?
You.
You think it's me?
Sean would make a snarky, like a, well, let's go, big boy.
Sean is known to say that.
I'm ready to rumble, big
That's
boy.
right, that's
What, I don't know
ready to rumble,
what
big
men
boy.
say.
Yeah.
Why are you so big boy? Who's most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse? Both of you guys. You have superhero genetics. Are you kidding me?
But here's the thing. How many times can you punch a zombie without getting bit?
Right.
Who's most likely to fall for a phone scammer?
Definitely me. And that was one time. And it was just my social. No, really. A couple times. Who's most likely to order a coffee drink with more than 5 words?
I don't know. I've
Not
never
me.
done that character work before. I gotta really reach down and go like, what does my character want for coffee? Who is most likely to save the world? Trick question. All of us. It's all of us. We save the world together because we're a super team.
Welcome back. This is my new Marvel Shang-Chi trailer video. Marvel dropped a bunch of new footage. There's a bunch of Easter eggs. We'll break it all down. I know a lot of you are also asking, how does this tie in with the history of the MCU? Why is the Mandarin waiting till present day to do everything that he's doing right now? I have a theory about that, and it has something to do with the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, some similarities in what's going on between the plot of that movie and this movie, and also some of the connections to the Iron Man movies and the backstory that we got about the real Mandarin during that one-shot All Hail the King. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I will be doing full episode videos for Marvel's What If series. That starts next week too. So it's a really good time to be a Marvel fan this summer. The Zombies name drop is also very timely because we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of that Marvel Zombies storyline during the What If episodes. You have to imagine what a live action version of that might look like. But just starting with the brand new scenes, the brand new footage, they start with his friend Katie, played by Awkwafina, freaking out asking him about who he really is after their big San Francisco bus fight scene, where Razor Fist and Mandarin's men come to abduct him and force him to come back to their father's fortress. Based on this, now it seems like that's happening at the very beginning of the movie, because it seems like he's been friends with Katie for a long time, while he's been on his crazy version of Rumspringa for the last 10 years, trying to avoid his father as much as possible. What Marvel has done is just combine the Fu Manchu character with the Iron Man villain, the Mandarin. In the comics, Fu Manchu was training his son, Shang-Chi, to take his place, take over his criminal empire. And in the Iron Man comics, when you're getting the history of the Mandarin character, he doesn't really have a giant family or anything like that. The 10 Rings of Power give him near immortality. He just keeps living on and on and on because of his precious. Make all the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power jokes that you want. I have not seen Marvel reveal what his fake name is that he's using during this 10-year period, because it sounds like he's telling Katie his name is Shang-Chi for the first time, like it's the first time he's said that name in a long period. There's a lot more footage of Katie and his sister in here too, and I believe the idea with the Katie character is that she's just like a normal American girl that he meets, makes friends with, and they're just having fun living their lives when his father comes back to take him home. Even though later in the trailer, in what seems like the big final battle that they're having in that ancient village, you see Katie dressed like the monks in those red robes, wielding one of their special bows and arrows laced with that red and orange energy. I will explain what I think is going on with that in a second, but I still think despite the fact she gets a big Hawkeye upgrade later in the movie, she's still supposed to be a pretty normal character. I'm sure Clint would be proud if Yelena Belova weren't so busy trying to kill him. Cannot wait to see that play out during the Hawkeye episodes later this year. But then when each of the actors are talking about their characters getting into fights, saving the world, you see all the new footage of his sister. And the way they're explaining her, as far as we've seen, is that she's just his younger sister who stayed behind when he left 10 years ago, and they haven't seen each other in that 10-year period. So when they're fighting each other in the ring during the tournament after the big Abomination versus Wong fight, after Abomination just hands Wong his ass, he's super surprised to see her and just caught off guard, because the last time he would have seen her, she would have been this tiny little girl. But in the last 10 years, she was being trained as an assassin just like he was in all these flashbacks. But the way the dynamic seems like it plays out between the three of them, the Mandarin and his two children, is that he really wants Shang-Chi to come back and take his place, or he needs Shang-Chi to come back, and I'll explain why in a second. It just seems like the Mandarin doesn't really care about what's going on with his daughter. Like, okay, I appreciate that you're working so hard to be just as badass of an assassin as your brother, but my empire, all this power is going to be going to your brother. He's the important one. But it seems like once they fight it out in the ring, they reconnect over their mutual dislike of their father. Like after the tournament, it seems like everything chills out here, where Katie starts fawning over her like, oh my god, you're so badass, I can't believe you fight so well. And then it seems like, just based on the way this footage plays out, that's when Death Dealer and the rest of his father's army swoop in and raid the tournament here. Like everything goes crazy and everyone starts running out of the ring. Then they have the big fight in the high rise, and then they return to his father, the Mandarin's fortress. You also notice, too, both he and his sister are wearing the green jewels around their neck. Like, he's wearing the green jewel even in the flashbacks when he's with his mother here. You see him wearing it in present day, but his sister is also wearing it. So that sounds like it has something to do with their family's history, his mother, and this secret ancient village with these monks. The whole thing with Death Dealer, we haven't seen a whole lot from them in the trailer, so I'm guessing that they're just sort of like a sub-boss, mid-villain, and not a really huge character in the movie. In the comics, that character was a secret double agent working inside MI6 for Shang-Chi's father, who at that time in the comics was Fu Manchu, leading a criminal empire, so Death Dealer was working for Fu Manchu. But because they've combined that character with the Mandarin in the movie, I think they're just changing Death Dealer's origin story and saying that he's just been one of his father's chief lieutenants this whole time. It's just that anytime you see a character who's wearing a mask at all times in a trailer, you wonder if they're hiding a secret under there. What I think is going on with all their special weapons here in the ancient village and all this new footage is because the energy that they give off seems very similar to the energy being given off by the Mandarin's bluish energy of the Ten Rings. I think it's related to whatever Marvel is doing with the McLuhans inside the MCU. However, they're going to explain the origin of the Great Protector Dragon, the origin of the Ten Rings of Power. Like, all these weapons that they're wielding here seems like they're either dragon scales or dragon hide that they've just fashioned into weapons. And the red-orange energy that they give off is just tied to the dragon's power. Like this red door that you see behind them here when Shang-Chi is fighting his father. Whatever it is the Mandarin is trying to get that's behind this seal, whatever he's trying to open up here, is the exact same energy signature as these weapons. Now in the comics, the door would have just hidden the dragon's spaceship, the McLuhan spaceship that had crashed on Earth. But I'm assuming because they've already changed so much about what's going on with these dragons in the MCU, whatever this seal is protecting, whatever it's hiding, is going to be different as well. And when I said I think they're going for a similar Guardians of the Galaxy 2 type of twist here, so during Guardians 2, the whole reason why Ego the Living Planet needed Peter Quill, his son, was because he needed his celestial DNA to complete his mission of taking over the universe. So when all the actors during this trailer say that they all get to save the world, the idea is, what is the Mandarin doing that threatens the entire planet? Probably has something to do behind this door. I think the difference in the Mandarin is that he does genuinely care about his children, whereas Ego the Living Planet didn't really care about Peter Quill at all. But the Mandarin is a Marvel villain at the end of the day, and Shang-Chi's mother may have belonged to this group of monks. She may have some sort of genetic tie to this group of people, and they might somehow be related to the dragons here, like the Great Protector Dragon. So early theory, Shang-Chi might be half dragon, the way that Peter Quill was half celestial. And maybe the idea is that only the dragons, like the Great Protector Dragon, could open up this giant seal, this giant door, and get whatever's behind it. And maybe the only way the Mandarin can get whatever is in here is with Shang-Chi's help, and that's why he's so important to him during the movie. Otherwise, why would the Mandarin be waiting so long to try and go after this if he wasn't waiting for Shang-Chi to grow up, mature, come into his own power? So this whole time in the MCU, the Mandarin's kind of been trying to win Shang-Chi over, trying to train him to fight these monks to get whatever's behind this seal. Like a very long-played Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker come to the dark side kind of thing. Imagine Darth Vader had found Luke Skywalker when Luke was a young child and tried to spend his entire upbringing winning him over to the dark side. Also tying this back to the plot of the Iron Man movies, because Mandarin is a big Iron Man villain, It sounds like one of the reasons why the Mandarin wanted Stark Tech weapons so bad, and why he was using the Ten Rings organization through this group of people to take the Stark Tech weapons, was all in service of his ultimate plan of taking this ancient village, defeating these monks so that he could get whatever was behind the seal. The cool thing about the last big trailer that they just released too is that Kevin Feige was basically saying that it was the real Mandarin the whole time, Wen Wu, this character, Tony Leung's character, who was behind the hit on Iron Man to try and take his weapons. So even though it wasn't his intention, he inadvertently became the reason why Tony Stark became Iron Man in the MCU. I'm expecting a lot of Easter eggs from the Iron Man movies in general, so we'll see if they include any Easter eggs for Trevor, just that hanging plot thread with him being taken at the end of that one shot, All Hail the King. All we need is like one shot of a dungeon inside the Mandarin's fortress with Trevor just complaining for like 2 seconds, maybe in like a funny post-credit scene. But if you spotted any brand new Easter eggs in this trailer footage that I didn't talk about during the video, just write it below in the comments. And big reminder, my Marvel What If Episode 1 video will post next Wednesday. It is going to be crazy. And I'm also working on a full Suicide Squad movie breakdown and Easter eggs for the entire movie that should post tomorrow. While you wait for everything, click here for my video on the Suicide Squad movie post-credit scenes and ending scenes. And click here for that brand new Marvel What If Episode 1 trailer and even more Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.